Hello YouTube, welcome back. GPK Forever with another video. And in today's video, guys, it has been a topic that I've been asked about to do. I do apologize for the time that it took to put this together, but we're going to talk about what's happened to the market with specifically Garbage Pail Kids, but I'll use some other TCG card, niches or whatever as an example as well for kind of some of my thoughts. But before we get started, make sure to hit that like and subscribe, guys. I'll do my best to try to, update more regularly. But yeah, let's get into this. So, for the year of 2024, we have seen I wouldn't say massive, but a huge, that's probably a good one, a huge decline in trading card value across the board, right? I've seen people talk about it for their specific area with Pokemon, maybe Yu-Gi-Oh, and things like that, and some of these other things. So I'm going to kind of explain some things that I thought of, why this could be affecting, but more in the aspect of Garbage Pail Kids. So this is going to be a podcast type video, so go ahead, grab something to work on maybe. Maybe you're doing some extra work or a project. Feel free to just tune in and let me know in the comments down below what you guys think. Maybe you guys have some of your own theories as well. And 100%, let me know. I don't know. Not everyone 100% knows the reason, but I feel like it's a good combination of everything that I've kind of thought of in general. So the first one we're going to talk about is probably the one that's more accurate, I would say, would be the economy as a whole, right? Unfortunately, the economy hasn't been as great as years past, where we've seen trading card values at all-time highs, mostly because inflation. I mean, inflation's everywhere, and some of the charts comparing over the past couple of years, inflation's just got so much. So I think with that idea, I think it's more of people have less money to spend on their hobbies, whether that's trading cards, if they do minis, or like minifigures. So I do minifigures for like D&D or Warhammer. So I do a lot of that stuff as well. So that could be an idea, is, just because, milk's going up, gas is going up, but I mean also housing too. Rent's gone up. To buy a home, it's a lot more than it used to be, and things like that. So I kind of think that could be a big reason. And who knows, guys, maybe I will do a video about each of these reasons more in depth, but I think this will just be a broad spec. So I think the first one is going to be the economy. I just think everyone's just getting beaten down right now, and I think a lot of people are playing in survival mode right now, so they're just doing what they can, keep a head over the roof, food on the table, and make sure, their family unit is okay, sort of a thing. So I kind of think that might be a pretty big factor that knocks out a lot of, collectors, buyers, people who are interested, sort of a thing, to where you don't have that competitiveness at all in the market. The next one, this one, I don't know. This one's been happening since COVID, but I think another big reason could be all the different types of TCGs, trading card games, or new trading cards in general that are coming out. There's been a lot more that have increased over the past couple years. So another one that I collect was, besides Pokemon, is Digimon. I got pretty big into Digimon. And I mean, you have MetaZoo and stuff right now with all their stuff going on. So there's just a lot more. And I mean, you have One Piece, the Disney La Corona, Dragon Ball. What's the other one? Flesh and Blood, which is dead. And a couple other ones. There's a couple other ones. I can't name them off the top of my head, but ever since, the pandemic, 2021, 2020, a lot more card games have been coming in. I mean, Last year we saw a bunch of new card games coming in. So there's just a lot of new things coming in. So it wasn't, you had Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh, Magic the Gathering, and, some of these other smaller ones. You've got like 20, 30, maybe even 50 different choices, right? I mean, that's a lot of choices to collect. So in that way, maybe the guys who were in the Garbage Pail Kids were like, hey, you know what? I like more of the gameplay aspect, with the trading card games, and it's more of an enjoyment sort of a thing. Where you get to go, you get to play competitions. Maybe you get to go to a championship if you're able to get to that level. So I think that could be definitely a factor as well. But like I said, 100% not sure. But I think that could be a huge factor is, hey, you know what, I'm going to hold off. This could be a scenario is someone's like, you know what, I'm going to hold off on Garbage Pail Kids and I'm going to go into, you know, the one the One Piece trading card game, right? Just because maybe they watch the anime or, big fan of it. And now that there's a trading card game, so they like the show, but they also like collecting cards. It's a perfect storm. So I do think potentially all the new card games coming onto the stage, you know, and new ones always being released could be a big issue just because for the longest time we've only had a handful of things. And I mean, you guys also have to remember we also have sports cards as well, not just trading card games and garbage pail kids. We also have sports cards as well. So there's just a lot of aspect of collecting. I mean, especially when um, some of these games or trading cards, especially when they're releasing sets extremely frequently. Like some of them will release 2 sets a year, maybe 1 set a year, and others you have like 4, 5, maybe 6 sets in 1 year. That is a lot of product being pushed into the market all at once. So I do think that could be a big reason. Another one, I don't know. This one I didn't really 100% get. I was listening to someone talk about this and stuff. Would be the scalpers. I mean, come on, guys. Back in 2020 when COVID hit and everyone just kind of had a lot more free time. They weren't working as many hours for work, sort of a thing. And we were getting those stimulus checks. A lot of people went and bought cards as a side gig. But there were also people who realized, you know what? I can make money, putting another 20% to 35% increase on top of the selling it online, and I mean, that's how we had scalpers. So I really think okay, so this is kind of where it gets a little weird, is it goes 2 routes. One, the scalpers could potentially just be dumping product. They could be just dumping product just because they're like, you know what, I made my money and I'm seeing this downward trend. I'm going to just dump it, as fast as I can to either A, try to get my money back, or B, just try to hurry and get out of there before it completely goes. And that could be a thing is, all the scalpers out there could just be dumping. They could be dumping their product, sealed product, graded cards, singles, just for super, super cheap, pennies on the dollar. And that could be a huge reason why we're seeing prices across the board for a lot of things coming down and things like that. I mean, that could be with what's going on with Garbage Pail Kids in a sense. Is, some guys are like, you know what, I've made my money. I graded cards during the pandemic, sold cards, bought a lot of products, sort of a thing. They were able to get the hits, sold those at all-time highs. Maybe right now they're just kind of like, you know what, I'm going to just cash in on everything. So potentially that could be another aspect of what's going on, is literally just card dumping. So it really could be something. But I would say the scalping part of it would be more of newer products than older, just because, I mean, yes, you can get older products. Like I know there's a shop, what is it, 2 hours away, that are now selling vintage garbage Pail kids from the 80s, sort of a thing, but it's a newer thing that they just did. So I don't know. They can't really scalp. I don't know. I would think it'd be a little bit harder to scalp older product when it's, excuse me, when it's mostly collectors who will go for that. I mean, if you do new products, you will have everyone who's wanting to complete their set, sort of a thing. So I feel like that's why you see the prices dip, after the first few weeks after the set's been released. Why you see prices from being high down to lower is because, all right, cool. All the stores who sell this product either have it, and people who wanted it are able to get their hands on it more freely, and there's not, a handful of ways to get it. So potentially that could be one of the reasons. Another one, and this is a top specific problem and stuff, is overprinting. I mean, I'm going to be honest. This is not something new to Tops with their garbage Pail kids. It's nothing new in general, but it's known, Tops does overprint a lot of things. I mean, look at their pull rates. I was opening up some Metazoo Chrome the other day. It was a hobby box, kind of the same thing that you would see with a Chrome garbage Pail kid set 3, 4, 5, or whatever the case may be. And I was looking at the pull rates. The Metazoo pull rates were better than the garbage Pail kids, which kind of leads me to think, so okay, Metazoo Chrome cards, all right, there's still a lot of volume in total, but I feel like it could, with the garbage Pail kids, just that they're overprinting and things like that. So I really, really do think that could be an issue. And I mean, I know with Pokemon, they're doing a lot of reprints right now to try to help battle, the scalpers and stuff. That's kind of what one of their solutions was. So I do know that that's something that like Pokemon was working with and are doing to try to help, get product to people, sort of a thing. So I do think that could be a possibility. Not 100% sure, but that, at least for the Pokemon sector, that could be it. But like I said, for garbage Pail kids, I mean, this is something new. They do it all the time. I mean, we saw it with Chrome Series 1 where they just overprinted, where, you could open up an entire case and not even get one pull, right? So, and I mean, all right, cool. You had everyone hyped up for Chrome Series 1, but because the pull rates were so garbage and no one was able to get any pulls, Chrome Series 2 did bad, and you had to wait years, almost a decade to do Chrome Series 3 because the community was, able to kind of get back and get into it and things like that. And when I mean overprinting, I mean more of the newer products, sort of a thing. Like, I mean, look what happened to Chrome Series 6. That completely fell off the cliff, but I also have something that can tie in with that as well. I mean, bookworms, food fight, I don't know. I'm not 100% sure about that one. Potentially. And shoot, what was the other one? Vacation, you can say, I feel like could have been overprinted a bit. Or it could just, overprinting kind of goes hand in hand with, all right, is the community putting in a lot of money and buying up a lot of the products? So is that why they're having to keep printing? Or is it, they're just printing a lot, so they have this huge amount when the community only needs, a third of the total print volumes, total printed. So now you have all these all these packs and stuff and all these boxes and cases that nobody really wants because there's just too much of it out there. So I don't know. Overprinting can be like good at times, but can also be more than likely really bad because then that just kills the price. The set nobody wants, nobody wants the products, and then eventually it'll go down as a set that nobody wants, And who knows, maybe 10, 20 years later, or maybe even 5 if you're lucky, because most people ended up not buying it because there was just so much volume out there. They're like, oh, hey, you know what? Now I want to complete this set, or, I want this or this card. Then you might get some charge back into that set. But more than likely, it won't happen, sort of a thing. So, yeah, no. I think overprinting in general is a no no. And I mean, it's really hard to compare, because the Garbage Pail community is so small compared to everything else. It's hard to compare it with like Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh, Magic, just because there are way more people who are in that niche, in that, market, in that community than there are with Tops, with Garbage Pail Kids. Garbage Pail Kids is a very, close-knit, tight-knit group, because a lot of people have, say I've been buying cards from Jimmy for the last 10 years, sort of a thing. So it's like there's not as many new sellers coming in, sort of a thing. I don't know. Just in general, the community is a lot smaller than a lot of these other things. So that could potentially be a reason. So, but yeah, just overall, overprinting is always a no-no. I mean, we've seen it happen with the basketball cards in the 90s, sort of a thing, to where they were worth a lot and then they completely crashed, right? Just because there's so much of it out there. When there's so much, and I mean, you make the pull rates hard because you have, all right, for every 100,000 packs, we're going to put a 1 in 5 card. Every 100,000 packs, and I mean, on top of that, put it in like hobby boxes to where it's like, cool, now I've got, and each hobby box has 36. Now you've got to open up, shoot, I don't know what the math is on that, but it's a crap ton of product. I mean, that's way more than 2-3 cases. That's a lot of product to look for this card that might sell enough to pay back for 2 cases, sort of a thing. So, yeah, no, I think that's kind of a no-no. But I mean, as a community, I mean, I don't know. I guess you can kind of say we have some say in it, but at the same time, not as much, because at the end of the day, if we go and we tell Tops, hey, don't overprint. Why are you printing so much product? Why is there, why are the pull rates, through the roof? Why do I have to go through like 20,000 packs to pull one card? I don't know. Like I said, it's just a lot of volume. So the next one. This one is definitely one I think I can get kind of behind or back behind. And I think this one is affecting Garbage Pail Kids the most is card shops. And let me explain. Not the card shops that are willing to buy cards from you, sort of a thing like that. And I mean, I feel like this kind of ties in with everything, I mean, it kind of ties in with overprinting and, card dumping, like I was mentioning. And this, I don't know. It's very hard to put into words because my mind is kind of racing, putting the puzzle together. So first off, let's talk about card. Your typical card shop. Your typical card shop will have maybe a case or 2 of a sealed product, and usually when it sells, it might put in an order. But once sales start to slow down, it'll stop, purchasing new products, sort of a thing. They'll buy singles, they'll buy collections, yada yada yada. In general, if it's a big card shop, they don't really buy Garbage Pail Kids. I think it's more the niche, maybe mom and pops or very local card shops. They might be willing to deal with Garbage Pail Kids. Like I said, it's a little different. And I mean, on top of that, it might vary from state to state. Maybe one state has more collectors in it than another. There's probably maybe more collectors in California versus North Dakota, And I mean, I could be completely wrong. It could be vice versa. I mean, there's really no good way to measure that. But I'm just kind of using that as an example to kind of state, being like, all right, depending on what the local thing is, they may or may not deal with Garbage Pail Kids, right? And I mean, you have the big, stores. You've got like Target. You can buy them at some Walmarts. I mean, in my state, in Utah, they don't sell them At Walmart, they haven't for like over a decade, almost two. Well, about a decade, I would say, is when they stopped. Target's really the only place you can get them at. Maybe a handful of stores, other stores, but outside that, you really just buy them online, from a card shop, an online card shop. But again, this kind of goes back to 2021, 2020, with this big boom. A lot of guys are like, you know what? I can start a business, which great, cool, do you. It's awesome to have more competition in here. I think it's really cool when guys are able to take their hobby, whatever they like to do, whether it's like maybe model trains, cards, figure sculpting, whatever their hobby. It's really cool that they'd be able to find a way that their hobby, something they enjoy and love to do, that they're able to use that to provide for them and their families. That's awesome. Cool. I 100% support that. That's cool. That's awesome. That's awesome. You do something you love. It's really cool. I mean, there's no way to say, nah, you shouldn't do it. It's like, all right, cool. You can do it? Awesome. Cool. But what I'm talking about kind of goes back in with a little bit of the scalping thing. So let's talk about Sapphire, the most recent one, which I believe was Sapphire Series 6. So what I think kind of happened, and this is my theory, I've talked to some other collectors that I've known for a couple years, Mr. D and others, and we've kind of all come to the same conclusion is we think what happened with the Sapphire. Because if you guys know, Sapphire there for a bit, real good prices, solid prices like we've seen in the past, and then all of a sudden, everything completely fell through the roof. It just collapsed almost, right? And I mean, even now, if you still have some Sapphire parallels and you're just trying to get your money back, good luck. Good luck, honestly. I mean, nobody wants the regular base. Almost nobody wants the black. I don't know what the pull rate is on that. Yeah, orange you'll do good, and gold you'll be fine. If you pull one of ones, you'll be fine. Reds you'll be fine. But it's like anything else, it's kind of iffy. So, what do I mean by that? So, what I think happened was, because if you guys remembered with the Sapphire Series 1, when we were looking for the atom bomb and things like that, how there was the guy on eBay who would, buy boxes and like you would buy in and things like that. Cool, awesome. A lot of the community loved it. Cool. I'm glad you guys enjoyed it, But I think that may have given some ideas to guys is like, hey, you know what? We're just going to buy out a lot of this volume, right? And if you buy it in bulk, you'll typically get it faster than the guys who just buy one or two. Let's be honest. They're going to ship out these big orders first, then the smaller orders typically. So this is kind of where the theory comes in is, say a couple card shops decided to do this, or online stores, whatever the case may be, a group of people decided to do this. They go in, they buy, they open up these boxes. As soon as they get them, they list them. They list them real high, real nice. But then what could have happened, and I mean, again, it keeps branching off in multiple ways. So the first idea is they sell high, but then the market gets overwhelmed and things like that, and somehow it collapses, right? So that's kind of the first, or one of the theories. The second one is, all right, cool. So they were able to sell, maybe 75% of their cards, their pulls, right? I'm going to say their pulls, the numbered cards. They were able to sell those to where they got their money back and they made profit, right? Maybe a 25% profit. So in total, maybe 50% of their sales was, getting their money back. They made a 25% profit. But then maybe they had this idea is, you know what? Let's let's get faster sales to hurry, get our hands a little bit in it and then hurry and get out, go in, grab the money and get out. So what they could have done was then they could have dropped the prices of whatever they had left after a set time frame and then started it extremely low to where when everyone else is kind of getting product or deciding to open, it's like, all right, cool. About a week or two afterwards, they go in, they change, prices from, say $35 all the way down to like $8, $6, just to hurry and get out. All right, cool. Now you're stuck with everyone else who's just getting their product in. And now, all right, cool. This hit $6. This hit $20. This hit $9, And it's like, cool, $20 maybe for an orange. Because I've had multiple people, tell me, hey, you know what? I just picked up an orange for $20. Can you match that? And I mean, this was literally the next day after I had just gotten my stuff. And I was like, whoa, who's selling them this low, right? So kind of what happened is they started putting up a trend to where, oh, great. Now the prices have completely fallen. And everyone else who's in here who, was hoping to maybe get their money back and still be able to have base cards and the pulls they enjoy. Cool, great. Good luck to you guys. Now you've got to figure out, if you'll be able to get your money back or whatever the case may be. So, oops, whatever. And I mean, that's rough. That's really, really rough when some people are like, you know what, I'm going to buy this, I'm going to open it, and I'm going to, sell the few cards I don't like, hopefully get, most of my money back. It doesn't have to be all of it, most of it. And then cool, I have all these base cards and I have the hit I want. Cool, awesome, great. I'm glad, you enjoyed that. And I mean, in the end, someone who bought those cards from you either needed them or wanted them for, like say they were maybe doing a rainbow, or they were just like, hey, this is one of my favorite characters, I'm just going to pick it up, sort of a thing. Cool. But when everything drops, it's hard for them to do that. I mean, many of you probably know this firsthand. It gets rough, and it kind of sucks for those who were hoping to, I don't know, maybe help pay off the car, or, pay this month's mortgage, or whatever the case may be, right? There's so many different reasons why people do the things they do that you can't really say specifically. Like this is probably the motive. It's like all we can do is speculate and guess in reality. But, I mean, that could be a huge part of it is like, oh, great. Come in, collect your profits, dump it. And then one of the other guys I was talking to had mentioned on top of that was being like, well, what if they lowered hurried, made their money, and then what they decided to do was lower it on purpose to buy up the cards. I mean, I could see that happen potentially, and hoping, buy up cards for cheap, and eventually maybe a couple years down the road, maybe if these cards are able to grow in value or at least retain in value, decide to sell out. I don't know. Again, there's so many different ways and things like that can hurt. And I mean, tops on demand. It's like they say you can only buy a limit, but it's like really you can buy cases of this stuff if you're big enough. If you're willing to put down a lot of money for this product, they'll sell you in cases of tops on demand stuff. So I mean, what's the difference with the Sapphire? It's like, cool, yeah, limit 6, but maybe if you have a relationship with them in the sense of you've done business with them for years, and you're like, hey, I want to buy 40, 50 of these boxes. All right, cool. We'll just send you 40, 50 of these. So again, that could be a reason. And then this goes to the new sets as well. Cool. They're able to get all these boxes because typically if a store pre-orders, the boxes get shipped to them. And typically they want to have the boxes on release date so then they could start selling to the public. So usually they'll arrive a week or two before. Cool. So they have all this product a week or two before. So a week of, they hurry and just crack open a lot of this stuff, right? Just open a lot of it. And then what could potentially happen is, cool, as soon as it officially releases, now you have all these hits, from a handful of sellers. And then, I mean, yes, typically you'll have, us, single or, members of the community who do pull hits and decide to hurry and sell it to be able to, get more packs, more products, or the cards they want, whatever the case may be. Just the normal trading part, the normal part that we're used to. And then, Usually within a few days or even a week, you see the prices of a complete set maybe go from $50 down to 15 to 10. And it just drops so fast because you have these guys that are so big that have so much of an impact. Like when they're like, all right, cool, I just want to hurry and get rid of all this volume without throwing it away. I'll just take whatever I can get. All right, cool. Now you just killed the market, you know? You just killed the complete set from $50 is what it was being sold for regularly is now down to $10 because you have, maybe 20, 30, 40 sets because you opened up a couple cases, if not like 5 or 10 cases, and you have all these sets and you're selling them for $10. Cool. Yeah, I don't know. Like I said, these are all speculations and theories, but based off of years of experience and kind of what's going on, I mean, even bulk now, it's rough. So I really think those could be the big reasons why everything's kind of just fallen. I mean, someone could even argue that, there's just more people that do certain things. I mean, we have more people who do box breaks. There's just so many more options. I don't know. Like I said, it's all speculation and theories that I've reached out to people about. Hey, what do you think? What about this? What do you think about this? And keep in mind, this is all specifically towards Garbage Pail Kids. It's not really, yeah, I did use Pokemon and some of these other card games as an example, sort of a thing, because I wouldn't say they're quite similar because it's a trading card, a TC, versus a trading card game, TCG. There's a difference there, but in the same way, you can kind of compare them to a degree, right? You can kind of compare them to a degree. But yeah, no, I really think that could be possibly something, those could be reasons that are affecting everything. Um, and I mean, yeah, and I think maybe we're seeing a little bit of everything. Maybe it's not just specifically one of these that I had mentioned. Maybe it's a little bit of everything. Maybe it's a little bit, like I said, just a perfect storm, and we happen to be hit by it. That really could, in turn, be the whole thing. So that's, I don't know. Again, it's interesting, and the real question is, will it ever recover? And I don't know. That I I feel like that's the question: is are we ever going to get back up to the 2021 high? Or back to past highs? Maybe not at the peak, but maybe like last year's, because last year's numbers were still better. I mean, you could buy glossy cards sold for like for higher grades sold for a couple $100. Cool. For those same grades now, you might be able to get $50 out of them, right? So I do think it just depends on how collecting goes. And I mean, when I talked about those new TCGs, we've already seen a handful of them die up for a few years and then completely burnt out and are gone. So really, it's anyone's guess. Anyone's guess in reality. Some people would even argue, whatnot. Some people might be saying, oh, the whatnot sellers. And I mean, yeah, I could potentially see that sort of a thing, because usually you don't get very many sales, from experience with buy it nows. Most of your sales come from auctions, and, if you don't have a lot of people on your stream, if you only have 2 or 3 people, something that should be going for like $4 or $5 might be going for $1. $10 card might be going for $2. I mean, yeah, it just depends really on how many people you have. So, yeah, someone could argue that. There's just so many different things that someone could argue and be like, well, I think this could be it. And that's kind of why I want to hear your ideas in the comment section down below. And guys, really, I think that would be the best way for us as a community is to maybe try to figure this out together or come up maybe with some new theories, kind of based off this broad spectrum that I kind of, did. And maybe potentially we could even figure out the real cause, sort of a thing. But like I said, it's kind of its own mess right now. Um, I really think that if you're an investor, there's a couple ways you can go about this, really three. The first one is if you want to, if you're solely investing, right? Because I mean, there's guys who are probably doing that everywhere, and Digimon and Yu-Gi-Oh and Pokemon and even in Garbage Pail Kids, where they're literally just picking up product to invest. I mean, if you rather, go invest in a different card market, you can end up selling it or whatever. Or if you're someone who's like, you know what, maybe give it a couple years and we'll slowly get back up to those old highs, go ahead, hold product, hold your graded slabs, hold your singles, sort of a thing. You could definitely do that. And maybe you're someone that's like, maybe more bullish and you're like, yeah, no, this is going to 100%. We're just having an off year. We'll probably have an off year or two and then everything will start slowly climbing up again. I mean, you could totally go out and buy product for cheap, go buy single cards for cheap. Because it's like, I watched a couple boxes and I had, 5 boxes. And within 2-3 minutes, I already had offers from sellers that were 30 to 40% off. So I don't know. It's like if you want to build a sealed collection or just in general build up your inventory, this is great. This is great for you, sort of a thing. But if you're someone who's trying to make money off of it, this is kind of a rough patch for you, sort of a thing. Or if you're just a collector in general and you're like, yeah, no, cool. I have this card right here that was worth, $300. So if something came up, I could quickly sell it and potentially, use that to maybe pay off an unexpected bill or something like that, or an unexpected expense. But now, when you look at that, maybe it's down to only on a, depending on the card and, if it's a good day in the market, maybe it's $100, sort of a thing. So I don't know. There's a lot of different things. I don't know. It's a little bit of a mess right now. I mean, I feel like we can all agree about that. Is right now in general, just in trading cards, general, it's a little bit of a mess. Whether you do Pokemon, Garbage Pail Kids, Digimon, or even MetaZoo, because I mean, right now MetaZoo is quote unquote a dead game, but there's a lot of buyers who are going, or it's not official yet. It should become official what the top 5 offers are, sort of a thing. But I've been listening to a couple guys about it, and it seems like there is a lot of buyers. So who knows? I mean, I don't know. Like I said, it's very interesting in general, but yeah. So again, thank you guys for watching. I know it's a bit of a longer video and not as in depth as some of you might have been hoping or expecting. If you guys want me to go in depth maybe on a, specific topic, one of the big ones I pointed out, let me know. And I'll, when I'm able to, I'll make a video, upload it. Again, please let me know, guys, in the comments down below what you guys are thinking. And, I mean, feel free to share this. I mean, I highly encourage you share this, with fellow collectors you might know. So then that way we can, try to get the community to kind of come up with quote-unquote theories or possible ideas of what's going on so we can figure out, what the problem is. And who knows, maybe it's just a habit thing, that some collectors have. Is maybe it's a habit, that is kind of hurting the entire community. So maybe if it is a habit, we kind of, make it not a habit anymore. I don't know. I mean, that's just a possible solution / idea. And that kind of sort of thing. So, I mean, I don't know. Like I said, a lot of different things are going on all at the same time, and I I really don't think we can pin it to one thing. But I feel like these are probably the biggest thing or the biggest effects, the biggest things that have the most effect on the market are these title or themes, you can say, that I talked about. So, all right, guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope to hear back from you guys, your comments, your feedback, sort of a thing. And yeah, no, I think it'll be interesting to see what goes on. Who knows? I mean, usually, so we have the holidays coming up, and usually the holidays are a good time in general for the market. At least the card market is, because a lot of people are buying gifts, and usually if they know their loved ones are looking for a specific card or something like that, they'll maybe get that gift for them for Christmas. I mean, at least growing up, that's what my parents did. Was they'd go out and either find maybe a specific character I liked, or maybe went and looked for a specific set that I really enjoyed, sort of a thing. So, I mean, that's at least my experience. And I mean, who knows? Maybe you guys have had similar experience. So we'll just have to see what happens, later in the year. But again, let me know what you guys think. Let's talk about this, and who knows? Maybe we could even find a solution. So, all right, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. And until next time, this is GPK Forever signing out.